Combine one image plus one audio file to make one video using FFmpeg. This should be pretty trivial, but I can't find a way to get it to work. I want FFmpeg to take one JPEG image and an audio file as input and generate a video file of the same duration as the audio file, by stretching the still image for the whole duration. I don't care very much about what video codec is used for output, but it is vital that I can use copy as the audio codec. I copy the audio stream without transcoding it. What is the right command line that would do that? I tried. And tried a lot of combinations with and without S640 by 360, loop_input, shortest, T30, R0.1, artificially low frame rate in the hope that the video would be longer, and FImage 2. Either I get errors or I get a video file of the duration of one frame. I've googled around and found a dozen of proposed solutions, supposedly to this very same question, none of which works. Can anybody suggest a working command and explain the rationale behind it?
The order of options in the command line matters. The following works for my case. In a more general case, where image.jpg and audio.wav are your inputs, you can use the following command, adapted from the FFmpeg wiki. This would use the LIPS 264 encoder and provide you with better compression than the JPEG codec used above. The audio is AAC, with the built-in FFmpeg AAC encoder.
Even easier. FFmpeg IEP1.png, IEP1.wav, EP1.flv. FFmpeg will try to pick the best codec automatically, depending on the extension of your output file. Update: I noticed YouTube has difficulty processing the video, gets stuck at 95%, I think because there's only one frame. The solution I found to make YouTube happy: add more frames. Also, I added a codec copy to preserve the audio quality. You need shortest or it loops forever. It stops at the end of the shortest stream, which is the audio. Because the image loop is infinite, the order of your options is very important for speed, as filters, and such, are processed in the order you specify. If you change the order of these parameters, the results are dramatically different. FFmpeg R1 Loop 1 IEP1.jpg, IEP1.wav. A codec copy R1 shortest VF scale equals 1280 column 720 EP1.flv. Also notice that I set the frame rate twice. That's not an accident. The first frame rate is for the input, second is for the output. If you do this correctly, there should only be 1 frame per second of video, which means it encodes relatively fast. Also, I set the resolution to 720p here, which means you should get HD audio on YouTube Smile.
You're making it way harder than it has to be. FFmpeg is a lot smarter than you give it credit for. It knows you want the video to be the same length as your audio track. The only attributes you have to specify are the input file names, the output codecs, and the output file name, which ipso includes the output container. Of course, it makes sense to start with a still image that shares the same dimensions as your eventual video, if you are using a dedicated image editor instead of specifying output dimensions for FFmpeg to meet. You need to make sure your input dimensions are even numbers. Output size is one of FFmpeg's most common hangups. Some codecs are more restricted in output dimensions than others, but no output can have odd number height or width attributes. The pause command at the end of the batch file keeps the CLI open. The best way to debug your command line is by reading the error messages it generates. They are extremely specific and the best documentation FFmpeg has, but the developer's hard work is wasted if you allow the window to close before you can read them. The command shell has a switch cmd/k that maintains an open window where you can run the same instructions from your batch script at the command prompt. FFmpeg and FFconv will both make you use C::A for a codec and C::V for codec eventually, but the old instructions work fine in the builds I use. Nota bene, every commit has idiosyncrasies. If your command line is failing for no apparent reason, it is often helpful to try another build or follow the fork over to Lubov, where FFmpeg's most active developers have been for the last couple of years. Their transcoding tool has been renamed FFconv, but your batch files should work with either one.
The version that worked for me. Check out that the option shortest must be in front of the output file, if not I get the below error. Option shortest. Finishing coding within shortest input cannot be applied to input file pic.jpg. You are trying to apply an input option to an output file or vice versa. Move this option before the file it belongs to. Error parsing options for input file pic.jpg.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.